Welcome into Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey here with the latest on the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll break down some trade rumors, free agency ideas floating out there. But first, we are losing the subs gained battle this month. We have 4 AFC North teams here at Chat Sports. All 4 of them are covered off, and we're in last in the subs gained. Look, the Steelers, the Browns, the Ravens, they're bigger channels than the Bengals Breakdown is because we're newer. But that doesn't mean we should be losing to them. Let's get that changed. Let's catch up. Hit that sub button for more free Bengals videos. First up on today's show, more Chase Young trade rumors, as Albert Breer has reported that the Commanders are open to listening to Young trade offers, although it would be a bit of a surprise if they were to move Chase Young. The Commanders, of course, declined Young's 5th-year option, which was the correct move. Chase Young hasn't been very good the past 2 years. Fansided, some others, Bleacher Report included, have linked the Bengals as a trade fit. Maybe it's the Ohio State connection. I'm not really sure. As we'll get into, I'm not sure he's the best fit for Cincinnati right now. The first year for Chase Young, back in 2020, his rookie campaign looked really impressive. 7.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. Like, okay, year one, good start. This guy's going to be a double-digit sack machine in the near future. He's got 2 sacks since then. 12 games played. Injuries have really limited him. He did not recover well from his injury in the end of 2021 into 2022. Barely made an impact. The Commanders get to pick between probably paying either Montez Sweat or Chase Young. And right now, Sweat's the better one to pay, as weird as that sounds. And specifically for Cincinnati, I know the sack numbers were not the best last year from an overall perspective, but have some pass rushers. And you just spent a first-round pick on Myles Murphy. The Fansided article did not mention him, which feels like a fairly significant oversight to ignore the first-round pick. Now, NFL teams, the smart ones, always explore every option, if only to know what the trade value is to potentially impact their own players. So what is the Chase Young trade value? I don't have a great feel for it, to be quite honest. I think the Commanders would want a premium pick or 2, but Chase Young has been bad and hurt for 2 years. If I just showed you the stat line of that guy, I mean, we're talking like, well, Joseph Ossai's probably better, right? Now, that doesn't mean you actually would rank Chase Young behind Joseph Ossai, but it's a good reason to not invest a premium pick. There is the pre-draft rookie year pedigree for Chase Young, but he's not become a Bosa yet, if we're talking about Ohio State edges. So I would not move a premium pick for Chase Young, especially for the Bengals in particular. Now, maybe if the Commanders are bad, I kind of think they're going to be, maybe they shop Chase Young at the trade deadline, get extra assets, and maybe if then Myles Murphy's coming along slowly, at that point, a rental, which I think is what Chase Young would be for the Bengals, starts to make more sense. But right now, for everyone healthy, I don't think it's a big need. So what do you guys think? Would you trade for Chase Young? Y for yes, N for no. It is today's pinned comment. I want you guys to take advantage of the upcoming ad on YouTube, if it plays, by heading down to that pinned comment and voting Y or N. In a similar vein, we've got Danielle Hunter trade conversations. NFL Network reports the Vikings are getting trade calls on Hunter, and they're listening. Contract, as we'll get into, is a big, fat problem here. Hunter's in the last year of his deal. He wants an extension. So far, no trade yet for Minnesota. The Vikings already traded away Za'Darius Smith. They signed Marcus Davenport. So they've cut Dalvin Cook. So it's a bit of a retooling in Minnesota. If you had to trade for one of these guys, who would it be? You can factor in the contract, the trade value, etc. Who would you rather have? You have to trade for one. No cop-out, none answers. DH for Danielle Hunter, CY for Chase Young. Hunter was back to form a little bit last year, although injuries have been a big problem here too, right? When he's been healthy, he's almost been, like a 3/4 of a sack per game guy, which is pretty remarkable efficiency. The issue is the injuries. Do you trust him to stay healthy? And if you do for a year, that's one thing. The reason why Minnesota's getting and listening to trade calls on Danielle Hunter is the contract. If a team were to trade for him, they would only owe $5.5 million. That's all he's getting this year. And that's the issue for Hunter and for Minnesota. He wants a new contract. You trade for Hunter, he's not playing on $5.5 million. He's looking for an extension. That's the whole purpose of going after Hunter and why the trade talks are happening. So, paying Danielle Hunter, and you're already paying Hubbard, and your first-round pick in Myles Murphy, we'll get to in a second, and you've got Trey Hendrickson, and you got to pay big guys like Burrow, Higgins, Chase, etc. Logan Wilson, not sure it's the best roster-building strategy for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, speaking of Murphy, if you just believe in him, welcome to the party, I agree with you, get his jersey. Chatsports.com/Myles Murphy takes you right into the Murphy jersey sales page. I know it says 1. It's just a delay. They'll get the actual number shipped out to you. Some teams are just delayed reporting it to Fanatics, so that's what's going on there. Chatsports.com/Myles Murphy. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Let's move to free agency. Taylor Lewan as a free agency target. Fansided pitched it. I will make note, they also mentioned Dalton Risner, but we've talked about Dalton Risner a bit recently, so didn't want to rehash that one. Want to look at a different option altogether. Lewan is coming off another major injury. Tennessee cut him technically before the start of the season. They cut him pretty much, or offseason. They cut him pretty early on because they knew he wasn't going to be back, and they saved a ton of money by doing so because Lewan can't stay healthy. In general, it is very tough to find reliable offensive line depth in June. I don't know if Lewan actually fits that category or if it's even as big of a need as some in the media have made it out to be. So we'll come back to Lewan, but with free agency in general, I want you guys to name a free agent who you want the Bengals to sign. Anybody out there, be a bigger name, be a smaller name. Go ahead and vote in the comments. We didn't see much of Lewan in 2022, so we'll skip that year and jump to 2021. 4 sacks allowed, 5 hits, 13 hurries, 64 PFF run grade. That's not that bad. The issue I have with this idea is twofold. A, I really don't know if he can stay healthy. And B, is offensive line that big? Like, Lewan has only played left tackle. Well, he's definitely not going to play over Orlando Brown. Could you try him at left guard? I don't know if that's a route you want to go. Is he even better than Jonah Williams or La'el Collins when healthy? I'm not so sure either. I don't see any path with the current offensive line being healthy, i.e. Orlando Brown, in which Taylor Lewan starts for Cincinnati. And I actually feel pretty good about the depth. Jackson Carman flashed a bit last year. You could always kick back over Jonah Williams. I know he had a down year last year, battling through injuries, should be healthier this year. He's probably a bit more reliable from a health standpoint than Taylor Lewan is, and Jonah's coming off his own injury. You have La'el Collins. You have even a Cody Ford if you had to, who I don't love, but you've actually got depth on your offensive line for the first time in a long time, it feels like, for Cincinnati. So I'm passing on Taylor Lewan, especially with the injury. He's suing the doctor who did his procedure because it didn't heal right. That's not someone who's healthy. I don't know if Lewan will ever play again in the NFL. I know he has expressed some interest because he sees a great quarterback in Joe Burrow. He sees a chance to win a Super Bowl. That's why he mentioned the Bengals. I don't know if the Bengals side of it makes sense for Taylor Lewan, though, at this stage. So because of it, I'm out.